is, I guess we kind of are tasked with bridging the gap
Yes.
between the, let's say, the creative team and what the story they're trying to convey, what the talent on their end is looking to convey, and try to spit it out in a way that's feasible for the audience to digest.
Right.
So we literally wear many hats, and I mean sometimes. I mean, you got the boss in your ear saying this thing, and you might go, I don't know what that means, but hey, there it is. I'll parrot it. I'll say it out. Because that he's obviously saying that for a reason. That's something he wants conveyed.
Yeah. How often does that...
It depends.
Yeah.
It depends on the week. There are weeks where I will not hear his voice, and there are weeks where I can't even hear my own voice because it's just going, oh my God. But it's kind of like we're where everything meets because we're the last gate before the world.
But do you feel like you've learned a lot about why decisions are made and
100%.
what the...
I've learned an entirely new side of the business. I mean, I spent 15 years on the Indies and FCW and NXT as a wrestler, and you learn certain things. You get a better idea as to why things are. But now walking that line, there's a lot of things that I would have been just as quick to say, this is so stupid. Why on earth would you do that? Nobody knows about that. And then you go, oh, wait a minute. I kind of get it now.
Right.
And you take into consideration, this isn't your mom and pop indie fed anymore. This is a global corporation.
Right.
We are a publicly traded company. There are responsibilities that you and I will never understand. I could work there for 20 years and still have no idea why this thing happened, but because of some business deal in some country that part of their contract was we're going to do this thing, it happens, and you go, that was dumb. But then you go, wait, we like having money to put on good business. So,
right. And the same way, because you've been in a ring, I can sit there and go like that move that just happened doesn't make any sense, and you can go, whoa, Sam, like you actually don't really know what you're talking about. It does make sense, and here's why. You haven't run a multi-million-dollar company, so it's like when they go like, yeah, I know you don't get this, but you're gonna have to trust me.
Exactly.
And you're like, you know what? I guess I should.
It's a great analogy. Yeah, I'm like, man, I think this is dumb. It's not going to work. But I've been in the meetings and heard the boss say some things and go that I went, there's no way. There's no way. And sure enough, I'm out there. And it happens, and the crowd erupts, and I go, damn it.
Yeah. I guess I'm just going to have to keep.
I'm just going to sit here and remember why I'm not a billionaire.
Continue. I'm going to continue keeping my big fat mouth shut. Well, now, did you ever, when you first start commentary on the main roster, were you ever one of those guys that got paranoid when you read rumors and were like, oh, because, there is stuff that you wouldn't know was going on, right? So do you ever read something on the internet and go like, oh, let me go talk to my boss about this? Because even in the beginning.
I'm sure there were times, more so when I was a talent, when I was a wrestler.
Right.
I would get freaked out by that. Especially, there used to be this weird disconnect between developmental and the main roster.
This is before NXT.
This is before NXT. This is FCW days.
Right.
And we were kind of an island unto ourselves. And you've got myself, Rollins, Ambrose, Reigns, Bray Wyatt. I mean, who's who of who's up there now.
Yeah.
And nobody told us anything. No one knew if anybody was ever going to get called up. And I've used the comparison in the past. It was like Toy Story. The claw with the aliens.
Yeah.
Everyone's kind of in this thing going, oh, it's always better up there, but no one knows when the master or the creator or whatever is coming to get. And then all of a sudden the claw would come and go, oh, there goes Cesaro. And then you just never saw him again until he was on TV.
And in your head, it's like, well, Rollins is the champion, so he's the next guy.
Right.
Except Cesaro's the next guy. Except this guy's the next guy, whatever. And then you're going, I don't even understand the logic.
I have no idea. There seemed to be no rhyme or reason. And then NXT started, and Triple H took over, and there became a lot more synergy. And now, I mean, I go down to the Performance Center. I don't even know half the people there, and I'll probably meet them when they're on Raw. And I'm like, oh, I didn't. Okay, nice to meet you. You did what? Oh, all right. Hey, yeah, he's the Intercontinental Champion now, guys. It's gotten so tight and so fast. And it's just seems to be a little bit more rhyme and reason than there was back in the day, but it used to be very, very weird.
Well, and I mean, the performers are also, they're probably not, I'm sure they're eager to get to the main roster because there's a lot of differences, but it's not the same as going from a warehouse in Florida to Monday Night Raw when, every 3 months or so you are in an arena for a pay-per-view.
When we used to have to do Street Team, if you ever ask like Seth Rollins or any of the FCW guys about Street Team.
I mean, I know Street Team from radio.
It is what it was. Yes. We had to do it for our own shows. We were tasked. They would put 3 or 4 of us in a car, and wherever the show was, like next month.
By the way, it's not like you and Rollins and Ambrose and all these guys are anonymous. We didn't have careers before this. Like,
well, I mean, I remember getting signed, going, wait a minute, this is WWE?
Exactly.
I don't know. But yeah, so we go from, myself to a lesser extent, but Rollins, whoever, we're in a car. We have to drive 4 hours to the other side of Florida to go hang posters on telephone poles and go walk into businesses. And like sometimes you would be on the poster and you go, hey, can we put this in the window of your pizzeria? And sometimes they would say, yeah, absolutely. And other times, like the cops would be yelling at us because we're breaking ordinances from hanging posters.
Right.
And it was all just part of the job. And
wow.
I go back home and be like, man, this is great. This was way worth the $500 a week I'm making and trying to support my family off of. This is WWE.
And is that what it was? It was just like the dream is so much to be in WWE, and this is the route to get there.
Yeah,
I'm going to stay the course.
It wasn't even really an option. If you wanted to go to WWE, that's how you did it.
Right.
And like I said, I mean, the names that I just listed, everyone went through it from the ground up. Now you got guys coming in from NXT that are getting deals to go to NXT, which God bless them. Like,
sure.
I would have done the same thing if it was ever an option. And NXT does their live tours, and the guys get buses, and it's a sort of a shock to your system even now. No, that wasn't an Adam Cole pun. And then see,
shock to the system.
Yeah, see,
you really do know everything.
I know everything.
But do you ever have like a furrowed brow or anything when you hear an NXT guy going like, oh, I thought I would never leave the Performance Center, and you're like,
yeah. Oh yeah, it's hilarious to me. Even some of the guys and girls that are on the roster now, they're like, oh, we fought so long and so hard to get here, and I never thought I'd make. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You never worked here when there was not the Performance Center.
Right.
There's a lounge. There's always been a lounge. We used to get changed in the men's room of a warehouse with one shower.
Right.
It was awful.
Right.
You know what I mean? And we had 20 people come to watch us.
I love that. That's like, it's always those little things, those little frustration points. You're like, you have a lounge.
Yeah.
Do you understand? There's a lounge.
There's a functional refrigerator at your disposal at all times, and multiple showers.
Right.
Okay.
There's no padlock on the Gatorade thing.
Yeah.
You're allowed as many as you want.
That's right. We used to have to wait around for Steve Kern's wife to like open things up after the show, and then we have to pay her anyway.
Right.
I just
sorry, boy.
30-minute match. She's like,
sorry, boys. No Gatorade tonight.
$3.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm sorry.
We didn't get the gate. No Gatorade tonight.
The house was kind of light. We'll catch you next time. But yeah, no, it's funny, and again, it's nobody's fault. It's just the culture has changed. Even I've been with the company now,
and it's changed for the better. It's just
100%.
As a person who had to deal with that, you should be able to have a little chip on your shoulder.
And it's something you just kind of just shake your head now. I feel like an elder statesman and going like, can you believe this guy? I remember back in NXT. We used to, back in NXT.
Yeah.
What are you talking? Like, I'm sure there's people that have been around since OVW days are going like, wait, are you kidding me? FCW, God, that was the place to be. You guys had it lucky,
right?
You know, what I mean? Tell Cena or Shelton Benjamin or those guys.
Orton is sitting there going like, oh, really? FCW was tough, huh? Yeah. I'll bet it was.
Yeah.
So what was it? What was it like bringing Coach on to the Raw commentary team? Because it was such like you and Booker and Cole had this thing, and you had your role of being there whenever Booker made a mistake to point out that Booker made a mistake. And I was kind of thinking about that as I saw that it when it transitioned to to Coach, you didn't change in the sense that like I'm still going to be here to bust balls, but I'm going like, is Coach used to that? Does he know Graves?
It's funny you bring that up because by design, his first few weeks, because I don't know Coach well on a social level. I mean, I'm cool with him. We've hung out like a handful of times, socially. But
you work together.
Yeah, but I don't
see him on Monday.
I don't know him. You know what I mean? Which is different. Whereas Booker, by the time we were doing Raw together, I'd worked with him at the studio every week for a year and a half and spent all day with him. So
people forget about those Raw pre-shows that were in Stanford.
We had a chemistry. We'd go to the hotel bar afterwards and just talk business and have fun. So I had a rapport with him already. So Coach was kind of the square peg in the round hole, and so the first few weeks I was like, I'm not going to come at him too hard because I want him to get back into it. You know what I mean? It's not like something you just pick up overnight and go, oh yeah, I'm back doing Raw commentary.
Yeah.
So I kind of gave him a little bit of slack. And then after about 3 or 4 weeks, I was like, I'm getting a little more comfortable. I'm gonna like just a light jab here and there. And he reacted fine to it.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, all bets are off. So now I'm just like, I just sit there and wait for him. I'm just.
It really does seem like you're just sitting there in the cut, just wait, say one thing.
I'm like a tiger in the weeds, just waiting for the baby deer to walk.
I mean, there was the tweet that went out that was like, he said, carry, verb, what I do to Corey Graves and Michael Cole, and you just go, that's an adjective. It's just like, there it is.
Yeah.
There it was. Has there been anything that he's been like, Graves, you cut me a little slack, or he's cool?
No, he's cool about
That's
it.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, it's just part of the game, you know.
Right.
We 3 hours is a long time to talk about anything, and you got to keep yourself occupied and entertained. My favorite thing though is you can tell when he's been tweeting on the air because he'll literally repeat something or just say something that means nothing.
Yeah.
And then you'll look because we all like scroll through Twitter during the show.
Sure.
And Coach just sent out like a coach him up tweet, and then he'll say like, "Oh yeah, this is going to be a great match," and you go, "Thanks, Coach. We just spent the last 5 minutes saying that. Yeah. We know that."